Hello and welcome to ChinnyVision. Time for the ultimate expansion for the wonder computer of the 1980s. The VIC-20 was in the first wave of UK home computers along with the likes of the ZX81. Unlike the ZX81, it had colour graphics, a proper keyboard and sound. Roll VT.
Why buy just a video game from Atari?
Stop! Copyright police. And remember, kids, if a dodgy bloke down the market tries to sell you a copy of Bloggo's POW, contact fast.
Well, I wouldn't want to fall foul of the copyright police, but luckily I've been digging around in the bins at the back of David Pleasant's house and found this VHS tape labelled Commodore VIC-20 advert alternate version.
You with me, Ronnie Hazelhurst? Ronnie! Sound! Sound! You cut the sound? Got no sound in here! I mean, jeez! I'm on normal! No, I mean, the organisation.
7, 6,
VT, I've cut
5,
your talk back, I know.
4, 3,
Can you hear me? I'm sure
2,
you can.
1.
Why buy just a video game from Atari or Intellivision? Invest in the wonder computer of the 1980s for under $300, the Commodore VIC-20. Unlike games, it has a real computer keyboard. With the Commodore VIC-20, the whole family can learn computing at home. Plays great games, too. Under $300, the wonder computer of the 1980s, the Commodore VIC-20.
The Wonder Machine of the 1980s has 5K of RAM with just 3K free in BASIC and externally looks much the same as the later Commodore 64. The 20 in the name isn't any indication of anything like RAM or colours or anything. No, it's called the VIC-20 because 20 sounded good. All the ports on the VIC are compatible with the C64. Later units can also use the C64 power supplies, but never use a VIC-20 power supply on a C64 as it doesn't supply enough power. It's fair to say the machine had a short life in the UK, but it did sell quite well. Officially compiled sales figures for the UK in the last quarter of 1983 show the VIC averaging third place in the UK home computer market, but being overtaken by the newly released C64 as Christmas approached. In fact, I've been looking through the pages of Personal Computer News to see when the VIC-20 ceased to sell, and it seems to drop out of the top 10 best-selling computers towards the very end of 1984, and as far as I can see, it doesn't return into that top 10 in 1985, seems to be replaced by the Commodore 16. With such good sales, there was plenty of software support. Cartridge software was expensive, but did get past that limit of just 5K of RAM. Tape software was hobbled with the limited resources available, and in order that the machine could keep up with rival micros, RAM expansion packs were released. Plenty of games were released that took advantage of the extra memory. 3K expansions, 8K expansions, and some games today even need the maximum amount of RAM a VIC can take, 35K. Say buy a VIC-20, chances are you just get the basic machine. That limits you to commercial releases that work in unexpanded VIC, as well as buying in cartridges. But you want more than that, right? Well, you could try and source an original RAM expansion. You're limited to whatever is available at any given time on eBay or any other site such as AmiBay. There are some new expansions available, but seem to involve exposed boards hanging out of the VIC's rather unorthodox and clingy cartridge port. Do you fancy ever removing a naked expansion port from its vice-like grip? No, me neither. But what if I said you could have a cartridge that would let you have up to 35K of RAM, had 40 cartridge games built in, and can boot to the SD2 IEC you may already own for your Commodore 64? Would you also like to have all of that and be menu driven, no dip switches or jumpers? Well, as of this month, for £64.99, you can. It's called the Penultimate Cartridge from The Future Was 8-Bit. Order it, it turns up in a well-packaged box inside 2 anti-static bags and comes with instructions to get you started. The first thing that strikes you is the case. This isn't a bare-board cartridge or 3D printed case with a weird finish. This is a proper injection moulded cartridge. It looks and feels like it has escaped from 1983, and this is a good thing. I own many modern devices for old micros. Always a disappointment when something in a case turns up and it's been 3D printed and doesn't suit the device you're plugging it into. This device has a look and feel that means it could only have escaped from a factory of Commodore. Doesn't feel like a modern device, but actually it is. The only concession to modern technology on the device itself are 2 buttons. One will reset the VIC, the other takes you to the menu. The menu button also lights up red. Plug the cartridge into the VIC and the fun begins. The VIC is notorious for having a cartridge port that is hard to insert carts in and out of, so take your time and wedge the beastie in there. Turn on the VIC and you are presented with a menu. You have the option to load in any of the 40 or so games installed or exiting to basic in whatever RAM configuration you need. The advanced menu also lets you juggle around the memory locations, which you'll probably care about if you're a hardcore VIC fan. Me? Well, it's all Moon Magic, but handy to know it's all there. Other Moon Magic features include the VIC Kit 4 and 5 and Basic 4, whatever they are. Games load from cartridge seamlessly, and if you hit the reset, you reset the game, not the entire machine. That's cartridge games, not tape games. You get to experience the full raft of VIC titles, many of which you won't have had a chance to play on real hardware before now. The Penultimate cart also has a party trick up its sleeve. If you have an SD2 IEC SD card adapter, you can access that direct via the cartridge menu. All very useful, and you get an improved menu system over an unexpanded VIC thanks to the extra memory. The Penultimate cartridge was designed by Time Mouth Software and is manufactured by the future was 8-bit. Having been using the Penultimate for a few weeks now, the most notable thing is it turns your unexpanded VIC into a completely different micro and gives you 40 cartridge games, many of which aren't easy to come by in their original forms. If you are only used to tape software on an unexpanded VIC, then this device will open up to you a whole new world. It's hard to see how any VIC owner could live without this cartridge unless they picked up a VIC which included a bundle that had a 32K expansion and 40 cartridges. So what the Penultimate gives you is 40 games, a load of utility ROMs, and a 35K expansion in your VIC, turning it into a whole new computer. If you're a casual VIC-20 owner, then it's an essential purchase because you're going to get 40 cartridges, 40 of the best games for the VIC-20 in one place, instantly accessible on your system without any plugging or replugging, let alone the RAM expansion. And if you're a hardcore VIC user, unless you've got all those utility ROMs, those 40 cartridges, and the RAM expansion as well, then this represents seriously good value for money. Certainly it seems to turn the VIC into a completely different machine and seems to be an essential purchase for VIC owners.